Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Candy.
All right. Welcome to episode 17. We are talking about NaNoWriMo.
Woohoo!
It is November, and I love November.
I'm sad that spooky season is over, though, because that was fun.
I'm grateful. I'm like sugar crashed. I'm good. We can move to November. And I mean, it starts, like NaNoWriMo starts like right then, midnight. Now you're in November, and now you have like a whole ton of work to do. So you partied all night before, and now you're like, okay, we'll have to get to work.
So tell us a little bit about Nano.
Sure. So NaNoWriMo, it's National Novel Writing Month, everyone, if you didn't know. NaNoWriMo sounds weird.
It's an industry term.
I think it's just a lazy term. It's like, okay, we're going to call it something, and let's just smash all of these things together, and people will get it.
I like it.
Yeah, I guess this is, I kind of researched what this, where this came from. I guess National Novel Writing Month actually started in 1999. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I was doing in 99. I don't remember.
The first year of college.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. I don't think I was doing anything. So anyway, that's when it started, and it was just kind of like a fun challenge and to write a novel in 30 days. I don't know why they picked November, probably because, there's nothing else happening in November, right? It's like
it's the worst possible month to do it. But if people are like, I wanted to get something done this year, and December is a really not great month
is not the
to do it. And so they're choosing November instead. And so I can see why you would do that. But at the same time, it's also not a great month for anyone.
Right. I like writing in November because, as I've mentioned before in other podcasts, I just like the weather. The weather kind of brings a fun atmosphere, a creative energy to it. So I like to write when it's cold outside and when it's November and, I don't know, sweatery weather. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about.
We'll call it snuggle season.
Snuggle season.
It's not spooky season anymore. It's snuggle season.
Snuggle season. I like that. I'm going to write that down. Snuggle season. I am really writing this down, everyone. Okay. So that's when it actually started, was 1999, just to a challenge to write 50,000 words. 50,000 is considered a standard for a novel length. And that's also industry, because there's like a flash fiction is like what, 2,000 to 4,000. And then
the Flash is about
stories,
1,000.
Is it 1,000?
Yeah, and then shorts are 3,000 to 6,000-ish.
Yeah. And then you've got a
you
novella.
go up from that, you've got novelette, novella. Mm-hmm. But they chose 50,000 because that is, if you get to that far, you have a book. It's undeniably a book at that point.
At formatting with 50,000 words, you're looking at about 220 pages, something like that. So those who don't write, they write in page numbers like I used to do before I actually was published and changed to word count. That's what you're looking at, is double spaced 220 something pages. So anyway, so then it just kind of exploded from there. It started to they decided to make it a nonprofit because it was doing so well. So in 2006, it became a nonprofit where it was just more of a community of writing where they promote literacy and creativity. And there's a lot of different programs that kind of funnel into NaNoWriMo. And they also have a camp NaNoWriMo in April? No, May.
I thought it was May.
It might be May because April is poetry.
It's either May or June.
I don't remember.
It's like summer camp.
Yeah.
For writers.
I think it is April. Just kidding. I think it is April. And they do something in July too. And
there are events around year round if you pay attention to the website, which is excellent because they do have a really fun website.
They do. You're on that website, right?
I am. I checked my profile yesterday. Mm-hmm. It changed my name. So my username was defaulting to my email address, which is a little awkward. And so I went in and changed it again, but I didn't change it to what it was before because it used to be a username I used when I was a weird teenager. Mm-hmm. And so I can't do that.
Mine is still a weird.
Yours makes sense though.
So everyone, if you want to find me the website is NaNoWriMo.org, which is going to be on the website, on our blog, if you can find it.
And also in the description.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then you create your own profile. And my name on there is Cani Jo, and it's CANI-JO. And yours is what?
I just changed it to J.L. Milner because that's
so boring.
It used to be Tasucha Gary.
Oh, that's awesome. I get it.
Yeah, because I'm so Japanese.
Well,
I'm really, really not.
Get it.
Famously not.
So if you want to friend us or follow us or see, you can kind of create your own community. I have a bunch of different friends that I can follow, or you can help motivate.
Yeah, we have all sorts of writer buddies in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And if you don't have writer buddies, this is a great place to get some.
The other thing that the website does is it gives you challenges or badges. Yeah. It gives you badges.
It awards you for your good work. And
you've been on here every day.
Honesty
so
thing.
Here you go. Yeah, well,
you do have to be honest.
Well, I mean, what is the point of lying about your word count? You're the one that's accountable. So if you know that you didn't make your goal, who are you trying to prove it to?
It's a personal question.
Well, it just doesn't make sense. This is like cheating at solitaire. I mean, you're the one that's cheating. Does it make you feel better for you to know that you're cheating? Anyway, that's how I kind of feel it. I usually, well, let's go back. I want to ask you, when did you first start doing this? Let's talk about our own history here.
Yeah. So according to the website, I first logged in there at 2010.
Oh, really?
I know. I was actually really surprised because I don't have any projects logged in there because I don't know if it's because their tracking didn't start until later, because every year they improve the site and they add new bells and whistles and all the cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And I swear at one point they didn't have the cool tracking thing.
Okay. And what they did in 2011, that's when I started.
And maybe they did, and I just ignored it because I like to do my own thing.
Or you were just so nervous you didn't want to put down your project yet.
I didn't want to commit to anything. So in 2010, I tried to write a historical fantasy. By the way, if you've never written a book before, that's not the greatest place to start. Historical anything is really, really hard. And I'm super detail oriented, so I was looking up weird stuff. Anyway, it was called Pendant of the Nefertiti.
Oh my goodness.
And it was going to be this urban historical fantasy with I like secret societies.
That's really cool.
So it's going to have a secret society that was guarding artifacts that had special powers.
I still think this is a good idea. You should.
I know. I will. I might unearth this later, but it was why was Hitler so powerful? Why did people listen to him? He had an artifact.
Okay.
Why was Nefertiti the one queen that got remembered? She had an artifact.
Okay, I can see why you struggled with this for your first Nano project.
You think?
Because had you written a book by then? No. Okay. So then there you go. You don't know how to actually finish anything.
I didn't know anything. It was messy. It was a good learning opportunity. That thing's still in a drawer somewhere.
If this is your first time, try to pick something that's a little bit easier, where you don't have to research so much, or that's a lot of prep work that you have to do before.
And one point of view.
Yeah.
Just one.
So I started in 2011, and I tell the story in my blog that's going to be posted when this releases as well. So you should definitely check out the whole thing. But I just called it my Frankenstein project. But I came up with this idea while at a funeral mass for my friend. And it's really tragic. And I don't want to talk about it here, but he had only passed away like 6 months, maybe. It was in April of 2011. So it was still kind of fresh, but I chose it as a nano project. So maybe I could, I don't know, either help me heal or help me just blurt out these words and try to get that. Now, I had finished a novel by then. So I kind of knew my process of how to create. But when I started doing it, I realized that I wasn't ready. So I shelved that and wrote it the next year. I finished it. So, and it's still actually not a novel, be honest. I made this into a novella, and I'd like to do it as more of a novel eventually, probably. It's got a lot of material. It's a neo-dystopian set in, dystopian Russia. It's really cool. It's a very cool story. But yeah, read my blog, and then you can weep with me a little bit right there.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Something wicked this way comes. From the shadows of your mind, where nightmares dance and play, comes a collection of tales that will scare and delight. Featuring 27 stories, poems, and flash fiction pieces, all geared toward kids and inspired by the tone and feel of R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. With stories from amazing horror authors around the world, this anthology is sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. So grab a flashlight, pull up the covers, and prepare to be scared. Just be careful what you wish for. The Big Book of Things That Go Bump in the Night, coming November 14th from Timber Ghost Press, the place where you can find your next creepy, weird, and disturbing read.
So we mentioned how NaNoWriMo is internet famous, but there are some really cool books that have come out of NaNoWriMo, like ones that have won really big awards, ones that have gone on to the New York Times bestseller list. And I want to just kind of give just a moment where we can kind of celebrate those books because we're very booky people.
Yeah.
And so Candy's come up with this handy little list for us of some of these notable books that have come out of...
Some of my very favorite books that were nano projects. And I want to first highlight The Night Circus.
Amen. Ooh.
By Erin Morgenstern, which is just one of my very favorite reads ever. I absolutely loved this book. Another one I mentioned before was Fangirl. In my Nerdiest Book Challenge, I put Fangirl from Rainbow Rowell on there as well. And the Cinder Project. So
I didn't know that was a nano novel. I think that is
either,
so cool.
Honestly. And I read all of Marissa Meyer's stuff when it came to that, the Lunar Chronicles. Have you?
I have read the first one.
Oh.
And I think she did an amazing job with recreating what is essentially a Cinderella story, but it's like super high-tech space. It's
and she
awesome.
did, I mean, with
robots.
All of them. Oh, I thought it was so cool.
It was very
just
cool.
a really cool novel. And for it to be fleshed out, I mean, I'm sure, very positive, that a lot of what Nano does is just force out a lot of junky words where you're just kind of writing and typing. And all of the editing and refining takes place the whole 11 months later when you're refining and rewriting and everything like that. But when you get that structure down, that's what's important, and a time to focus and just kind of throw out everything you have when it comes to creativity in the story and the characters, and just kind of, I don't know.
Well, and being able to visit it every single, because if you miss days, you get in trouble. I mean, you don't get in actual trouble, but you fall behind, and that is not a good place to be. Mm-hmm. Because it's a struggle if you're like, ooh, I missed a day. I need to do this many words the next day to make up for it. I think it trains us to have a more professional mindset of this is how you make time for the work. You need to have an hour, maybe 2 hours every single day to work on this challenge. And being able to make that time a priority, I think, helps a lot of writers learn how to make that space in their normal life.
I know it's helped me with deadlines, knowing how to narrow in on one specific thing or narrow in into the creativity space so you can just start writing and redoing that. So Nano has helped me prepare that. Like when you're doing it in a concentrated time, right? You're in that creative space all the time. You've created that, your brain is active with all of those little, yummy creativity
all
bubbles.
Your plot bunnies?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it happens all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm constantly thinking about my character and what I'm supposed to be writing
like
or what's coming
when you're doing
next.
the dishes, when you're folding the laundry, when you're on your commute. That's like the thing you obsess over because you're like, I need to figure out what's next and then what's after that. And then the next thing too, because that would be helpful because I might get to it. And you turn into this engine of creativity where every waking moment kind of keeps flipping back to, ooh, what's next? Mm-hmm. What can I do next? How can I make it fun?
Yeah. Tell me your successes with Nano.
So according to the website, and again, I've done quasi Nano a few times, which is
that's honestly every year of mine. And I will say why. Because I understand my writing process. I've published. When you haven't published, it's very good. It's a very healthy experience for you to just dump into trying to finish a novel in 30 days. I think it's different when you're published, where you use that time as more formulaic, more I don't know, getting things done maybe is the right.
Well, you've already figured out your process. So now it's checking boxes. It's like, ooh, I need this. Ooh, now I definitely need that. I need to figure out this too. And if you've never done it before, you're discovering that process. So the first time you have to discover that process, it's a little scary.
Yeah. So then quasi-nano for you is what?
So I've had nanos where I need to do the second half of the book. And so I think Stonebearer's Apprentice, I wrote the first half 1 nano and then put it down for an entire year because I wanted something new to draft because I was in the middle of editing and I was getting really frustrated of having the first book kind of just enveloping everything and I needed a break. And so I'm like, ooh, I should go ahead and start writing the second book. And so I spent 1 nano writing the first half, put it away, didn't touch it again until the next year. By the way, don't do this. And if you do that, definitely reread what you've already written before starting nano again, because you need to remind yourself that you're not remembering your story the way it's actually on the page. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that book took a lot of editing, a lot. But the ideas were really cool that came out in the second half, and so I had to almost rewrite the entire first half because I got better ideas.
Yeah, and that happens a lot, honestly, when you let a book rest and then you think about it a little bit, things start to evolve a little bit from it. With projects with Nano, honestly, probably every story that I did. Well, not my first 2 novels. They were not Nano projects. I had written those differently. But like Vampirish or To Dream in Daylight or my Hawkweed story. I'm trying to think, I've kind of experimented with, honestly, I mean, if you look at my list of novels, it says like them a couple of times because it's not that I finished it. I never finished. I'm being honest here. I never did 50,000 words in 1 year, but I did like revisit a lot of the things that pushed me to finish them within the next 6 months. And then I went through and revised and redid everything. But it took a couple of years for some of those stories to evolve, just like you
Absolutely.
said. So, yeah.
Well, and you have done it where you've done the 50,000 minimum though? Like,
no. No, I haven't. Okay. That's what this year is for.
You're going to do it this year?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. But the problem is with this year is there's two novels. There's two novels. So one is one that I have been rewriting for the past, 3 years, something like that. I'm like, there's just problem spots that I need to adjust and fix that I have been avoiding because I didn't want to rewrite this book at all. It's soul sucking. I hope it turns out to be amazing because this has been really hard. That's my Brown Eyes book for everyone who actually reads my stuff. But then I came up with another idea about this. It's more of a rom-com New York love story, of course, because and it's just taking over my brain, and so I really want to write about these characters because I adore them so much. I don't know. We'll see what actually comes up. So I have a starting point. I've already written on these, so I'm keeping track of what my word count is now. And so I can kind of calculate the word count on both of the projects. So hopefully with both of them, I should get 50,000, hopefully.
All right. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on that one. So I've done a full NaNo 3 times with the 50,000 words.
Wow.
Did I finish an actual book during those times? Yeah, no. But I've done 50,000 words.
Well, fantasies are around 100,000
I know, right?
They're
my very
double.
First attempt at my very first draft of Betrayal, that one ended up being 140,000 words when I was finished, the first draft. Editing happened.
That's awesome.
It was messy.
All right. What are your helps? What helps you focus on doing this project?
So the biggest help that I could ever recommend is before you dive into the actual writing of anything, achieve the highest clarity you can about what you're going into. Have the beginning, the middle, and the end at least figured out, and then know what you're aiming for. And so I've had it where I need to write a scene. I know just like a tiny bit needs to happen. And when I try to write into the dark and I don't have enough clarity on what's going to happen, then there's no energy. Because I'm like, trying to figure it out as I go. And sometimes that works really, really well. And sometimes it really doesn't. And so I will do tiny brainstorm sessions right before trying to write the scene and just spending 5 minutes to be like, brainstorm what needs to happen in the scene and build that energy and get everything ready. Like that was the biggest help to me to keep achieving that flow and keep that energy high and make it not such a slog. Because if you keep on picking at it and you're like, I'm not sure what I need to do now, and so I'm just going to keep writing words until inspiration strikes, that can be really soul crushing because you might end up deleting 50, 60% of what you write when you don't have that focus.
That's awesome.
And it's really hard. So I would beg people to try to find a little bit of clarity before really diving in per scene, per chapter, however your brain's happy.
Like I've seen it where it's Preptober, where people kind of prepare during October to start at midnight on the 1st. Mm-hmm. So
well, and if you're a plotter, Preptober is essential because that's when you're figuring out the names of your characters and your cities and your plot structure and your arcs and all of this stuff. If you're a pantser, Preptober is like, nope.
I don't even know what it is. So I was like, what? That sounds like a waste of time. I'm just going to keep writing. Thank you.
But even if you're a pantser, you do need a little bit of clarity, even if it's just the next little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
And so,
and there's some times when, especially like I would say when I was writing Vampirish, I would just kind of put a parentheses and say, I will write this later and move on to something else because I can't think of exactly how this is going to be solved at this moment. So we'll come back to that. So.
Also, this is a fun time to play with new ways of getting words on the page. Experiment with dictation. Experiment with taking Google Docs with you on your phone.
Yes, I think that is essential. Everything I have has to be accessible everywhere. So you were totally right. Good job. Gold star for you.
Yay.
Yes, Google Drive and your Google Docs.
Your streaming service of choice. Everyone has a preference on which one works best for them. If it's even just your email, as long as you have a way of transferring it to your larger document later, it doesn't matter where you put it down.
I use Dropbox, and so I can open up my Word, like just on any computer, if I open up from Dropbox to anything. So I can write right there, and it saves it on all of my different devices. So I like Word, using Word, not Google Docs for my stuff. That's not what everyone, I just like the organization of it. So that's why I use Dropbox instead of Google Drive, except that Google Drive holds all of my information. So it has all my spreadsheets and other things and whatever. So.
Well, and also take advantage of your voice memo recorder, because if you're at a place where you can't actually type or write or anything, like something hits and you're driving and you just want to capture it, make yourself a voice memo.
That's a good idea.
Because you will lose it.
I like to, this is dumb, I like to Pinterest.
You make a vision board.
I do not do a vision board. I like to make a game out of it. It's important for me to track my progress. So I have like tracking sheets, and I have like a coloring page where I can color in that I did this and I achieved this many words and stuff.
Ooh, and I make those in my bullet journal. Like I'll sketch it out and I'll make little pathways or
that's
charts.
So cute. Yeah.
And so I have those all.
I like making it a game. And I really like to work with people and making sure that I'm doing it as a community, because I need support. I like to support others as well. So talking about your project, checking up on people, being a support for other people, I think is important. Meet up at coffee shops or libraries. There is, if you find your region in the website, you'll find functions everywhere. They're always meeting at coffee shops or having a midnight write-in or whatever.
They have all sorts of things. And the community bulletin boards on the website as well are excellent. If you just need to rant about something, if you need inspiration, if you want to talk about your cat, they have a bulletin board for it. So
yeah,
writer community there.
I'm so glad we talked about this.
This was fun.
This is awesome. My final thoughts on this is I think that there is a value when you direct your mind to focus on your characters and on your story. And it's a great training for being an author with deadlines, for sure. So even if you are published, there's a lot of value in just purging out these words from your gut,
So next week, we're going to continue our discussion for helpful NaNoWriMo tips. We're going to talk about how to handle the murky middle.
Oh, yes.
Which is kind of a death trap for a lot of writers. So we would love to give some helpful advice on how to get through that.
The murky middle.
The murky middle.
Yeah, bring your galoshes, everyone.
It's going to get messy.
Yes.
Please remember, we do have a Patreon. If you have found any benefit to anything you've heard today, we would love you to be part of our Patreon, because we have all sorts of goodies in there.
Yeah, we got a great community, so I hope to see your name there.
All right, until next week, this has been Squirrel.
See you at NaNoWriMo.org.
Good luck.
Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. This episode was recorded at the Farmhouse Recording Studio. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone.
And we're
You liked how
talking.
I said that, the NaNo.
NaNo.
The quotes.
No one's going to get that.
Oh, everybody's going to get that.
No one's going to get that.